So my name is Dina Morgan. I am the Vice President of Channel Partnerships here at R0. I actually live in Houston, Texas in the Northwest area. I am a product of the public school system of Texas. So I went to elementary school in Garland ISD and then finished elementary school, middle school, and high school in Cy-Fair ISD. Both of my kids are products of the public education system. So this is not only, I believe in this mission, but it's very personal to me as well to make sure all of our schools in Texas can provide indoor air quality and indoor safe environments for their kids. So I'm really excited to give you an overview of the TEA. So the TEA, what we want to do today is just go over the grant, the overview that comes from the Department of State and Health Services through the TEA, what it means to be cycle 2 or 3. So some of you are in cycle 2, some are in cycle 3, want to explain the differences between that, what the application and spend deadlines are just at a high level, and then the allowable categories. So what are you allowed to spend these funds on, and why is R0 invested in making sure that you know about the allowable categories and how we can help? And then just take Q&A at the end. So make sure that we address any questions that you may or may not have. So getting started, the Department of Safe Health Services, they partnered with the Texas Education Agency, so the TEA. This was actually as a result of the pandemic in November of 2021. So there was $800 million allocated to Texas, and of that, $200 million have now been reserved for K through 12 for supporting COVID mitigation and prevention resources and activities. So this is a school health support grant. What occurred was last year, the deadline had passed and the TEA realized that there were still schools that had not continued to apply for those dollars. And so they have extended the deadline, they've reallocated. This is not an increased allocation, this is not new funds, this is actually existing funds that were part of the original grant, but now they have allowed schools that did not apply or applied and did not get the money to have an opportunity to participate in this grant process. So what cycle do you fall under? There's 2 cycles that are available. Cycle 2. So cycle 2 are public and private schools that during the original update, you did apply for the grant money. You received what's called a NOGA, so the Notice of Grant Award, but you were not paid during the 2021 to 2022 school year. Also, if you are a private school that never applied, you now have an opportunity to apply for the 2022 to 2023 school year. This deadline is November 18th of 2022. So that's your deadline to apply. It's a PDF application process. So it's not through the e-grants, it's through a PDF. That PDF document is on TEA's website. Happy to send you the link or to talk to you about how to get that PDF. So that's cycle 2. So you applied, but you did not receive any funds during the school year last year. For cycle 3, these districts did not apply and therefore did not receive any funds. So you have an opportunity to go through the e-grant system on the TEA website and apply for these funds for the 2022-2023 school year. So it's as if you're applying for a brand new fund and grant application process through the e-grants portal that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with on the TEA website. So applications, there are 9 allowable expense categories for which these funds can be used. They're very clear. TEA has done a great job of giving examples of what is allowed and what is not allowed. R0's UVC technology, so we have a technology, we have a portable unit that increases the quality of air circulation, which is actually an allowable expense under category 3. Other schools in the state of Texas have utilized these funds for category 3. We'll talk a little bit more about what the R0 UVC technology is in a minute. All of these funds must be spent by March of 2023. So if you think about right now, this month in November, you have the opportunity to apply for the funds depending on if you're cycle 2 or 3. Once you apply for it, those funds have to be spent by March of next year in order to get reimbursement and utilization of this fund and grant opportunity. So what can you use this funding for? These are the verbatim from TEA's website, the 9 allowable expenses. A lot of them are, actually, they all are completely targeted for COVID mitigation and prevention and testing. So if you look at some of the things you're probably very used to hearing about, which is PPE, other types of hygiene and cleaning supplies, what we would really like to highlight is that portable HEPA and fan filtration systems or other items that may allow for improved air circulation. And that's where R0 comes in. And I would love to talk to you about how R0's UVC technology is an allowable expense and can help keep your students safe and protected in the classrooms. So under category 3 is R0's ARC. So this is a mobile UVC tower that allows for 99.9% of surface and air microorganisms to be destroyed in the classroom. We have seen other school districts use this unit, which is hospital grade disinfection systems, to go in as part of their regular everyday disinfection process. So at the end of the day, your janitorial staff still has to move, they still have to clean, they still have to empty the trash cans. And what they do to reduce the amount of chemicals that we're using in classrooms, they now can put this ARC in a classroom and use it, turn on a cycle. As they're cleaning the next classroom, this unit actually will disinfect and increase the quality of the air in the room. It is portable. That is a very important part of category 3, that it must be a portable unit. So this is mobile. It's very easy to wheel around from room to room. We actually are also seeing this unit used for emergency purposes. So imagine you have a flu outbreak or a COVID outbreak in one of your classrooms, and those students are now all on the playground or they're in the cafeteria. There's no one in that room. You can bring in the ARC, use it to disinfect the classroom. And now your students, when they enter back in the classroom, that classroom has now been deactivated with all of the microorganisms in the air and on the surface destroyed. So I would love to, I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I want to make sure that we are just respectful of that. Cycle 2 or cycle 3, you have different deadlines associated with the application to use these grants. Category 3 on the allowable expenses is what we would love for you to consider using these funds for. However, any of these funds are available for use of any of those allowable expenses. And we just want to make sure that we're protecting and utilizing the money that has been handed down from the Department of State and Health Services to utilize to keep our students safe in the classroom. So I am going to stop right now and allow for any questions to maybe come through if anybody has any. So I have a question. Are any of the rest of the R0 products covered under the grant? So R0 has amazing products. We have a whole suite that we would love to talk to you about. Unfortunately, the way that the grant application process is written is that it has to be a portable unit. And so the only portable unit that we have that is safe that increases the quality of the air circulation is the ARC. So R0's other 2 products, which are Beam and Vive, would love to talk to you about. We are seeing schools utilize those technology. They are not covered as an allowable expense underneath the grant. We have another question. What is the range of sanitization of the R0 product and how large of an area? So the R0 ARC actually covers up to 3,500 square feet. However, if you think about the average size of a classroom, the school districts in the state of Texas, they are about 980 square feet to 1,000 square feet. So the disinfection time for that square footage of an average size classroom is 7 minutes. So as you think about the perfect opportunity for a janitorial staff to go in, they're going to empty the trash cans, wipe down surfaces, and then rearrange anything that they need to make sure that the classroom is set for the next morning. As they're going to the next room, they can now start a cycle in that existing room. 7 minutes, they're done with the next room, and it's just basically a trail on process for the whole end of day disinfection process. Thanks, Dawn, for that question. April, great. How is this better than chemicals? I think, my personal opinion, in 5 years, 10 years, we're going to be horrified at the amount of chemicals that we have used to try to disinfect and clean surfaces especially. So if we think about just the amount of chemicals that we're using and the degradation of both surfaces and just the protection of our staff, of our janitorial staff that is now being asked to use harmful chemicals, R0's products allow the elimination of those chemicals, or at least the reduction. So what R0's units don't do is they're not going to clean up biospills. They're not going to clean up any type of mess on the floor. Chemicals are still needed for the basic cleaning process. However, for complete disinfection and to eliminate and destroy the ability of microorganisms in the air to reproduce, UVC light is a very safe and a very effective way of eliminating those microorganisms in the air and on surfaces. We have seen schools greatly reduce both their chemical spend and the amount of time that their labor forces use is being spent in each classroom by utilizing the R0 arcs. And the sustainability, yes. So if you think about just the harmful effects of chemicals in the environment, my whole background is in energy efficiency and making sure that we are leaving the world a better place than when we started. R0 arcs is a very sustainable option for not only does it not harming the environment, but where there's no type of chemicals that are released into the air. So the R0 arc is a very sustainable solution for disinfecting both the air and surfaces. The ease of use. So yeah, the ease of use. You literally roll the arc into the room. There are 4 buttons on the arc. It is a power button, a scroll up, scroll down. What we can do is actually program all of the rooms in your facilities in order for your custodial staff, janitorial staff to scroll through, find the actual room that they want to disinfect at the time. All they need to do is push go. So we can pre-program, and you have the ability to edit that as well as programming. How long does the arc need to run in order to create that ideal level of disinfection? And then all you have to do is hit go. You have 30 seconds to exit the room. There are safety features and sensors at the top. Safety is our #1 goal with the arc in order to make sure that there is no human exposure while you are running these units. So very easy to use. Again, 4 buttons. You scroll to the room that you're in, you hit go, and you exit the room. There's an LED indicator at the top that you'll know if the unit is still running or if the cycle has been complete. One thing that really brings it all together is now you have a dashboard. So all of that data is uploaded to the cloud on a dashboard. And so what your constituents, if you think about your board of trustees, your parents, your staff, your community, if they want to know what you're doing to help keep your schools and your students safe, there's an ability to upload a dashboard reporting at the end of every day or as needed. So you can actually report into your constituents on the disinfection process that you utilized in your school and show how long each classroom was disinfected, at what time, and be able to report that back. In terms of, Dawn, the unit, so the unit is very durable. There is a service agreement associated with each unit that we will be able to replace any parts. I would say, just in all honesty, the one part that might need to be replaced every now and then is if a bulb breaks, and that is part of our service agreement. It's a very, very sturdy unit. My favorite part of doing a demo, and I would love to get in front of any of you guys with the demo to bring the arc, is just to hit it really hard, and it's very, very durable. So the service agreement that we have in place does cover all replacement of the parts should anything happen to them. How does this impact any type of other microorganisms? So let's talk about that. So we have flu. Before the pandemic, we over the past 2 years, we forgot about all the other viruses and bacteria out there. So flu, MRSA, staph. If we think about wrestling, I'm not sure if any of you guys have a really large wrestling department, but we are seeing schools across the country use these on wrestling mats. As you know, that's just ripe for bacteria on those mats. So in locker rooms, so MRSA, flu, COVID, monkeypox, all of the easily transmissible viruses and bacteria, both on air and surfaces. I don't believe we have any that I've heard about in schools that are not completely eliminated by the use of our technology. So 99.9% of all microorganisms are deactivated, meaning they can't reproduce. They can't reproduce, then they don't spread. Hospitals have been using this type of technology for the past 3 or 4 decades in between their operating rooms. So in between operations, they're using this technology to disinfect the air and surfaces in their operating rooms. So I had a question, tell me where these are manufactured. Yeah, great question. So these are manufactured in the United States. They're actually manufactured in San Jose, California. And our inventory, we are very well staffed on our inventory. So within a couple of weeks, we could get as many units as your district is looking for in order to hand deliver them with a white glove service to your campuses. And is UVC safe? So UVC is the one ray of light that does not penetrate the Earth's atmosphere. Therefore, there is no microorganism that is resistant to it. These arc units are not safe for human exposure. So what we have done is we have created redundant safety features at the top of the arc. If you walk into a room while the arc is running, it'll immediately stop and have the cycle interrupted. So the safety, again, safety is our #1 priority. So when you actually run a cycle, you have 30 seconds to exit the room before the cycle is run or before the cycle has started. Once it's started, you'll have a visual indicator at the top of the unit that you know and can see that the unit is running. UVC does not penetrate anything larger or thicker than a piece of paper, so you can watch the UVC unit through the glass of a classroom. As soon as you walk in, if the cycle is in the middle, it will immediately shut off because it has the PIR sensors that will sense that there is somebody in the room. And then you can restart the cycle as soon as you are ready and can exit safely. So it is not safe for human exposure. Well, again, thank you again for your participation. And I am looking forward to getting all with you after this and making sure that you are applying for the funds and utilizing the funds that are available for you in order to keep your students safe. So I appreciate your time today and look forward to talking to you later.